Come As You Aren't is the 5th episode of the first season of Taxi. This is, of course, directed by the wonderful James Burrows, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it's a good episode. I kind of expected it to focus on Elaine, because up until this point, each episode has focused on a different person. And I was looking forward to digging a little bit deeper into Elaine's character, because at this point, I didn't really feel like I knew very much about her. I still don't feel like I know a tremendous amount about her. I know a little bit more about her home life and her family, so it's definitely a step in the right direction. With regards to the episode itself, I think it addresses a really important topic about not being ashamed of who you are, and I'll talk about how this comes about. So as I said, there will be spoilers from now, and it starts off with Elaine picking up a passenger in the taxi, and I have to be honest, I was kind of initially on the side of the passenger, because Elaine immediately started talking, and when I get in an Uber or a taxi, I don't mind a pleasant hello, how are you, but that's it. I don't want to talk the entire time. So I was on the passenger side, but then the passenger started to dictate the route that Elaine was supposed to be taking, and obviously she wasn't very happy about this. Finally, they arrive at the destination, and the passenger forgets their luggage, their briefcase, and Elaine manages to drive off with it to get her own back. So not the best cab experience that she's ever had, and she actually goes into the garage and kind of explains this, and other people have had bad experiences. It's not been a great day for most people. But then she tells Alex that she's actually having some people over from the art gallery, and she's actually really looking forward to this. She also has a part-time job at the art gallery, but they don't know she's also a taxi driver. And she wants Alex to come over, I guess for moral support, to have somebody there she's quite close to or quite good friends with. But there is a caveat. Alex isn't allowed to say he's a cab driver, because if they find out he's a cab driver, they'll ask him how he knows Elaine, and then they'll find out that she is a cab driver. Alex does go to the party. We get to see Elaine's house, really nice apartment, really nice set design. I love Elaine's dress. Alex looks really smart. He is the first there because Elaine wanted Alex to get there first so that none of the art gallery guests didn't feel awkward being the first ones there. I've never even thought about the awkwardness of being the first one at a party before. I don't go to that many parties. I'm not a party person, not a social person. But now, if I ever go to a party again, I will now be concerned about being the first one there. That had never even crossed my mind. And what I love about this scene when Alex first arrives, Latka is also there. I honestly couldn't care less. I kind of wish he just had no involvement in this. He didn't add any value from that point, so I didn't really care at all. But the rest of that kind of scene, the first scene at Elaine's house, I thought was really great, because she was obviously talking about these guests. She thinks a lot of them. They're obviously esteemed. And then she's talking about buying cheap drink. And then she'll say something else that kind of is maybe above her station at the moment. And then she'll have something that brings her back down to earth. And it kind of went back and forth a bit, really showing that contrast between the world she wants to live in and her reality. And I think they did a really good job of just constantly, pretty much throughout the episode, really going back and forth between the two of them. Alex points out that he hates lying because he doesn't want to get caught out. And honestly, the more I learn about Alex, the more I can relate to him. I also can't lie. I can tell white lies, but I really struggle to tell lies because of that deep anxiety of thinking that any second somebody will find out that I'm lying. So I completely understand what he means. But he said he's not going to say anything unless anybody asks him questions. And the guests all arrive, very atmospheric, very well done. He ends up lying, he does, and says that he's a freelance putter-outer of fires, which is, I don't even know if that's a thing, but nevertheless, that's who he's pretending to be. He meets a woman and things seem to be going well for him. Things seem to be going well for Elaine too, and then somebody arrives, and it's a character we learn is called James, and it's the man from the opening scene, the man whose briefcase she drove off with, and needless to say, it's very awkward, but Elaine is more annoyed that he didn't recognise her. Obviously, part of her doesn't want him to recognise her, because then he'll know that she's a cab driver. But at the same time, how dare he not remember her? Because to her, the encounter meant so much. And what I love about that, I absolutely love that moment when she realizes this, because if you have social anxiety, something that people will often tell you is that you'll never see those people again. They won't remember you. It doesn't matter. And I always think that's not true. They'll remember me, all of these bad things. But here we have evidence, fictitious evidence, but evidence nonetheless, that actually what might be a really awkward moment for you is just water off a duck's back to somebody else, and it doesn't matter to them, and they're just getting on with their day, and they're not agonizing over that encounter for hours after the fact. And I just thought that was quite nice. I don't know if that's necessarily the message they were trying to deliver, but that's certainly what I took from it. And it's always nice to remember that actually you might have had an embarrassing moment with a stranger, but honestly, chances are, and even as I say this, I don't believe it, but chances are they won't even be thinking about it or remember it, and they probably can't even remember what you look like. Elaine then actually reveals the truth, and she tells everybody that she is a cab driver, and that Alex is a cab driver. Not great timing, because he was starting to get very friendly with a woman who thought he was a freelance putter-outer of fires. But I like the fact that she eventually admitted the truth, and that she no longer, maybe not for the right reasons, but no longer felt the need to hide behind her reality. And in that moment, something else was greater than the shame she felt. And she shouldn't feel ashamed, of course, but she did. And something was greater than that for her. And then we have a really lovely scene at the end where Alex forgives her for ruining that moment he was having. And they're friends. And it's nice. It's a sweet way to end things. As I said, I kind of expected this to be focusing on Elaine because, or it could have been Louie, but I kind of figured it was probably going to be Elaine. And I was pleasantly correct, because I was really keen to find out more about her. And as I said, I still feel like there's more to learn about her, but I do feel like we're definitely scratching the surface quite a bit, so that's quite exciting. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying Taxi, and I honestly haven't got any idea what to expect going forward. I'm still kind of getting to grips with the comedy style. I feel like I kind of have a good grip on the comedy style, but I'm still sometimes finding things, little styles of humour here and there that I maybe hadn't expected. So I think it's going to take another couple of episodes for me to be able to say confidently, yes, I can understand the style of comedy. I know the kind of humour they're going for, but certainly I'm looking forward to finding out more. James Burrows is obviously always fantastic, and it doesn't surprise me that Taxi is going very well for me. And Come As You Are is definitely a very good episode.